always exchanged words with everybody because it didn't matter what anybody was doing in and around the estate here and everywhere else. They all meant a lot to him, and he always took a very personal interest in everything that they were doing.
Meghan panics as Sophie's explosive comments about her go viral. And it gets worse. The internet is on fire right now. A brand new Channel 5 documentary just dropped a bombshell that has Meghan Markle's team scrambling. Because Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, just told the world exactly what happened between them behind closed palace doors. And the story that's gone viral isn't just uncomfortable for Meghan. It might be the most damaging thing yet. Stay with us, the documentary that lit the match, and why it's spreading like wildfire. This all began on May 16, 2026, when Channel 5 aired a documentary titled Royal Peacemaker, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. The program chronicles Sophie's journey from marrying Prince Edward in 1999 to becoming one of the royal family's most valuable assets. At first glance, it appears to be a warm, uplifting profile of a woman who has quietly dedicated decades to royal work, without the drama, Netflix deals, or tell-all memoirs that often accompany such stories. However, what caught many off guard was how impactful the documentary turned out to be. Marketed as a celebration of Sophie's rise to prominence, it also contained a striking contrast between her mentoring of Princess Kate and her attempts to assist Meghan Markle, which reportedly fell short. Within hours of the documentary airing, clips surfaced across social media platforms like TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube, prompting widespread commentary. The explosive nature of the story wasn't due to malicious intent. Rather, it was calm, measured, and grounded in the actual experiences of those involved. This resonance has left Meghan's camp anxious. Royal commentator Emily Andrews noted that Sophie was eager to mentor younger members of the family. She highlighted that when younger figures such as Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, and Meghan Markle married into the royal family, Sophie was very happy to offer her support. The critical aspect of this statement is very happy, indicating that Sophie didn't hesitate or wait to be asked. She proactively extended her hand. The situation with Markle, however, was reportedly different. Andrews claims that when Sophie approached the Duchess of Sussex, she expressed her willingness to help, saying, "Anything I can do, anything I can help with, let me know." Allegedly, Markle never extended an invitation to Frogmore Cottage. That one detail, the absence of an invitation to Frogmore, hit hard. It's not that Sophie was unkind, rather her kindness made the situation more poignant. She made an effort and opened a door, but Meghan chose not to walk through it. The documentary aired on a Saturday night, and by Sunday morning, clips had garnered millions of views. The story had officially gone viral, with the commentary largely unfavorable towards Meghan, the Queen's own directive, and the snub that nobody forgot. What makes Sophie's experience with Meghan particularly significant is that the suggestion for Sophie to mentor her did not originate from Sophie herself. It came from the very top. Biographer Giles Brandreth, in his updated version of Elizabeth, an intimate portrait, describes Queen Elizabeth II's reaction when Meghan joined the royal family. The Queen understood that Harry's girl might find adjusting to royal life challenging to begin with. To help Meghan, the Queen suggested that her daughter-in-law, Sophie Wessex, would be an ideal mentor. "Sophie can help show you the ropes," said the Queen. Newsweek. Consider what this really means. Queen Elizabeth II, who had witnessed generations of royals come and go and possessed extraordinary experience and judgment, looked at the situation and determined that Sophie was the right person to guide Meghan. This wasn't a casual comment, it was a direct recommendation from the monarch, who sat on the British throne for 70 years and personally vouched for Sophie as a mentor. However, Meghan effectively declined the offer. Brandreth noted that Meghan made it clear she did not feel she needed Sophie's help. One can understand her perspective. Meghan was a successful, independent woman with an established career before entering the royal family. She hadn't grown up dreaming of being a royal. She had already built a life and trusted Harry deeply. Newsweek. But here's where the narrative takes a turn. This account is not isolated. Another biographer has corroborated it. Royal commentator Robert Jobson, in his 2023 book, Our King Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed, confirmed that the late Queen suggested the Duchess of Sussex seek advice from Sophie after joining the royal family, believing that Sophie could serve as a valuable advisor. However, the Duchess made it clear that she would make her own decisions, and reportedly turned down the suggestion because Harry was by her side. Yahoo! Two separate biographers tell the same story, and now, in 2026, a Channel 5 documentary adds a third first-person layer to this account. The consistency of this narrative across multiple sources explains why it resonated so strongly online. This is not just one person with a grudge. It reflects a pattern confirmed from various perspectives. What is particularly striking is Sophie's response, or rather her lack of bitterness regarding the situation. The documentary does not depict a wounded Sophie ranting about Meghan. Instead, it shows a composed, dignified woman who attempted to help, was turned away, and then continued with her responsibilities. The contrast between Sophie's quiet professionalism and the turmoil surrounding Meghan's royal tenure only becomes sharper in this retelling. The private tea that Meghan never followed up on. Beyond the Queen's directive and the public framing of the documentary, there is a more intimate layer to the story that has been confirmed through separate reporting, and it is arguably the most stinging detail. According to sources from The Sun, Sophie did not simply make herself available to answer Markle's questions and concerns. She actually invited Meghan to tea at her home in Surrey. It was just the two of them at tea, and they talked for hours, the source detailed. These were hours of conversation, not a brief 10-minute courtesy call or a quick wave across a drawing room. Sophie opened her home to Meghan, giving her time, attention, and presumably her hard-won wisdom about what it means to be a newcomer to the Windsor institution. And then, nothing. No follow-up, no return invitation. Emily Andrews noted that Sophie was surprised she was never invited back to Frogmore Cottage, where Harry and Meghan were living at the time. This detail is quietly devastating. Sophie made the effort to host Meghan for a lengthy personal conversation at her own home. The logical reciprocation, the social protocol that any reasonable person would follow, would have been to invite Sophie in return and say, "Come to mine this time." But it never happened. This could be interpreted in different ways. Some supporters of Meghan may argue that she was overwhelmed, already struggling with the institution, and that inviting more people into her home felt like exposing herself to scrutiny. Those arguments are not without merit. Moving into the royal family is an extraordinary life transition, and Meghan was navigating enormous pressure. However, the problem for Meghan is that the documentary does not allow that charitable reading to dominate, as it presents a comparison with Kate Middleton alongside it. The documentary highlights Sophie's relationship with Catherine, now the Princess of Wales, describing her as a shoulder to lean on as Catherine adjusted to her new role. Royal correspondent Victoria Murphy noted that Sophie is a natural mentor for Kate in many ways, and pointed to moments that have played out in public. In contrast, Kate and Sophie's bond grew and deepened over time, becoming one of the more genuinely warm relationships in the current royal family. Meanwhile, any connection that might have existed between Meghan and Sophie was quietly severed after that single, unrepeated tea. The internet has responded, as it often does, creating memes, threads, and video essays around this contrast. The cumulative effect has fostered a narrative positioning Meghan as someone who, at a critical moment, rejected the very help that could have changed everything. The Oprah Who incident, Sophie's own controversy, and why it backfired on Meghan. Sophie has her own controversial moment in this story, which also involves Meghan. After Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey in March 2021, in which they made serious allegations of racism in the royal family, Sophie and Prince Edward gave an interview to The Telegraph. During this interview, Sophie said, "You know, if you're not into chat shows, there's no reason why you should know who she is. Certainly not in this country anyway." The couple joked, "Oprah Who?" These comments came off as dismissive, suggesting that the Oprah interview was not serious enough for the royal family. Whether this was a genuine reflection of their media habits or a misstep in royal public relations, many people reacted negatively. Omid Scobie, in his 2023 book Endgame, criticized Sophie and Edward's remarks. He said their comments about the world's most successful black woman and one of the biggest faces in entertainment made them seem out of touch or, at worst, bigoted. He added that Sophie's comment was another example of recent mistakes. These strong words led to backlash when the book was published. Some felt Scobie had gone too far by calling Sophie casually bigoted. Reports say Sophie was very upset with Scobie and Meghan for what he wrote. There's an added layer for Meghan. Many in the royal circles believe Scobie's book had ties to people close to her. They think the information in the book came from Meghan or her friends. In summary, Sophie tried to be a mentor but was rejected. She made a clumsy remark about Oprah and was then labeled as casually bigoted in a popular book by someone associated with Meghan. Despite Sophie having kindly hosted Meghan, she still faced harsh public criticism. It makes sense that the recent Channel 5 documentary aimed to set the record straight. Sophie's rising stature makes the contrast even more brutal. In 2026, the public's view of Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, has changed dramatically. While Meghan Markle struggles to gain relevance and credibility, Sophie has quietly become one of the most respected members of the British royal family. This contrast is getting people's attention. Sean Smith, author of Sophie, Saving the Royal Family, believes Sophie is becoming popular because of her focus on charity work. He says the media has been and continues to be obsessed with the family drama involving Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Prince William, Kate Middleton, and King Charles III. It's a soap opera. Meanwhile, Sophie has been comforting women and child refugees. This quote has been shared widely since a recent documentary aired. The difference between Meghan and Sophie is clear. While Meghan's public life has involved media disputes, legal battles, and mixed results from her projects, Sophie has worked in Ukraine, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, helping survivors of violence against women. Sophie has raised awareness about violence against women without seeking publicity. She traveled to various countries to support this cause without cameras or promotional deals. It's just the work she does. The public has noticed. Experts describe Sophie as someone dedicated to helping younger women join the royal family. This image of Sophie as a supportive figure stands in stark contrast to Meghan, who is seen as someone who rejects help. Timing also plays a role. Soon before the documentary went viral, Sophie represented the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness at the World Health Assembly in Geneva. This occurred just 2 days after Meghan spoke at the same event. Both women appeared at this important health assembly, but they presented themselves in very different ways. Sophie was there as a global ambassador for a well-known organization, while Meghan's role focused on a digital harm memorial. The timing of these events, along with the documentary, created a media frenzy. Meghan's team seemed unprepared for the attention this brought to the two women. The viral fallout. What it means for Meghan's reputation and what comes next. What does this mean for Meghan after Sophie's comments went viral? These comments could hurt Meghan's image more than past controversies. The damage this time is different. Past criticism of Meghan has come from tabloids, royal watchers, and even members of the royal family. People see these as attacks with clear motives. You might dismiss a tabloid for having an agenda or a royal commentator for being defensive. But it's harder to ignore Sophie. She is well-liked in the family, and people have positive things to say about her. Her words matter. Sophie hasn't said anything mean, released any statements, or appeared on podcasts to discuss her experience with Meghan. The documentary presented simple truths. Sophie made an effort to connect, was turned down, invited Meghan for tea, and never received an invitation in return. This truth could be more damaging than direct criticism. This viral moment is tough for Meghan because it fits into a narrative about her struggles to build and maintain relationships within the royal family. Some supporters argue that the institution was unwelcoming, that Meghan felt isolated, and that Sophie's attempts at mentoring were controlling. But the documentary presents information calmly and factually, making those counter-arguments seem weak. Former staff members have recently shared troubling stories about working with Meghan, describing challenging experiences. This reporting, along with the Sophie documentary, paints a picture of someone whose personal and professional relationships have repeatedly failed. Meghan's public response has been to see herself as the victim. In the digital world, stories can reinforce each other quickly. The Sophie story supports what biographers and palace insiders have suggested and highlights the rejection from a respected person like Sophie. For Meghan, the real concern is not about a single clip or headline. It's about the overall impression forming in the public's mind. Sophie didn't fly to California to confront anyone or give new interviews. She went about her work, and the documentary shared her story. That story, by reflecting Meghan's choices, became very impactful. As the documentary clips circulate, people are revisiting past events, like the tea that never happened, the Queen's suggestion that Meghan turned down, and the negative labels attached to someone who tried to help but didn't deserve them. Each replay strengthens the narrative, and right now, there's no sign of it slowing down. If Sophie's story teaches us anything, it's that quiet dignity has a lasting impact. The internet also remembers things for a long time. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video for more royal coverage, and subscribe to stay updated. In this story, there's always more to come.